Now we know what different formats are available when it comes to networking events, in person and online. It's time to look at what's going to be best suited to you, because we're all different. We've all got different tastes and styles, and that's completely fine. So what we want you to do is you have a look in the resource section, there is a link to an introvert versus extrovert quiz. So if you click on that and go through and have a little, answer all the questions and have a little look and see which you are. You probably got a good idea on which you think you might be, but pop along, take the quiz, and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back. Did you turn out to be what you thought you were? Shockingly, I'm extrovert. I know, you would never have guessed it, but yes, I am. So let's have a look at what actually introvert and extrovert mean. So let's have a look at the characteristics of each. So if you're an introvert, you get your energy from being on your own. So it's not about being quiet, it's just about where you get your energy from. And introverts get their energy from being on their own. They feel tired and drained from socializing, so networking can be, especially in the open, informal ones where there's a lot of people chatting, that can be really tiring for them. This isn't something that you can change. This is just who you are, and you shouldn't want to change that anyway. Introverts tend to think first and then speak after, so they tend to be a bit more thoughtful before they speak, and they express themselves really well in writing. That's their preference. Extroverts, they get their energy from socializing. So the opposite to introverts, they actually get energized from being around a lot of people, and that's where they come alive and feel like they're getting their energy from. They struggle being alone. Being on their own is actually where they feel more tired. So again, the opposite to introverts. And they think as they speak as opposed to thinking and then speaking. So they tend to talk and think as they're going at the same time. And they prefer to express themselves verbally. So you've probably noticed characteristics of yourself within both of these lists, both of these descriptions. And that's because no one is actually 100% introverted or 100% extroverted. You'd be completely bonkers if you were. Introvert and extrovert, we all have a mixture. We're all actually what's called an ambivert, which is a mixture of the two. It's just that most of us have an inclination towards one way or the other. So for me, for example, I remember when I was a full-time networker, so I used to go to like 5 events a day and I loved it. But every now and again, I'd have to have a weekend where I locked myself away and just didn't speak to anyone. Like I just it was my way of energizing myself, and I didn't realize it at the time. And it's because although I am extroverted and I do love to be around people and that's where I get my energy from, I do also need to have that solitude every now and again and really kind of just reprogram and reset myself. And I'm sure that there'll be areas of both that you find, oh yeah, that's me, but I also am a bit like that. And that's okay. That's exactly how it should be. We're all ambiverts, just with a tendency of swaying towards one or the other. So what does all this mean? So it's really important when it comes to understanding yourself. And again, this is how you were biologically born. This isn't things that you learn, and one isn't right or wrong. They're both perfectly normal and fine and wonderful in their own different ways. And it's important to understand who you are and why you feel a certain way, especially in these different situations, like a networking situation, for example. It's also really important to understand other people. So if you're in a networking event and someone appears to be quiet, it's probably because they're introverted and they find that situation overwhelmingly draining and tiring. So they're probably going to be better suited to having that one-to-one conversation. So by understanding other people, it allows you to build better relationships as well as with yourself, with others. And then also for finding the right events for you. So finding your style. So knowing whether or not you're more introverted or extroverted and where you're more comfortable being, what setting, you're going to enjoy the events and get more from them. Feeling comfortable is so important in networking because it's not a comfortable situation to be in. You know, we're told stranger danger, don't speak to strangers. And then all of a sudden you're thrown into a room full of them and just expected just to talk. I mean, it's not that simple. So feeling as comfortable as you possibly can, especially while you're starting out and building up your confidence in the world of networking. Being yourself as well, finding what works for you will help you to be yourself and be relaxed. And people want to get to know you as a person. That's what networking is all about. It's building those relationships. It's going to help you keep attending, because if you're more comfortable and relaxed, you're more likely to keep attending networking events. And consistency is key when it comes to networking, because it takes 3 times of meeting someone for them to even remember who you are and what you do, never mind any kind of deeper relationship. So it's all about building these relationships over time, and consistency is key. If you're more relaxed and enjoying the event, you're far more likely to succeed long term. So looking back at the scale that we already looked at of the formats that are available, we've got the structured all the way through to informal. And as I briefly mentioned earlier, introverts are more likely to feel comfortable in a structured environment, in a structured form of event, whereas extroverts are going to enjoy the open, informal, relaxed style of networking. This is an overview. I always say with networking though, give them all a try. Try the different formats that are out there. See what you like. It's going to be an experience if nothing else. So you're going to get to meet some new people. Worst case scenario, you meet new people that you learn from. What a terrible situation. So give them a go. Find what you do and don't like and what suits you and what works for you, and then be able to repeat that to help you be consistent and keep going and building up these relationships over time. So these are the events that you should be attending. But what about your target market and what's their style? So this is where we're going to start thinking strategically about your networking moving forward. So it's time for another worksheet. Get in, love a worksheet. So in this worksheet, we're going to start thinking about why you're going networking. Why are you attending conferences? Why are you going to dinners? Why are you going to coffee meetings? Or even if you find yourself accidentally in a networking situation, why are you there? And what do you want to get out of it? So it's time to start thinking about what you want to achieve by networking. And this is where we fill in the next worksheet. So off you go. Another worksheet under your belt. Well done, team. So knowing who you want to meet and what you want to get out of networking will help you determine which events you should be attending. So thinking about the kind of people that you want to meet and engage with and build relationships with for different opportunities, whether it's for career development, for its opportunities and introductions, for its accessing funding and finance, whatever it might be, start thinking about those people and where they might be hanging out. So seminars are a great way to do this because they're topic specific. So thinking about the people that you want to meet and what topics they will be interested in is a great way of deciding whether or not you should attend a specific networking event. And this again can be done in person, conferences, or it could be done remotely to seminars, panel discussions, and those kinds of events. Looking at the speakers as well. If there's a speaker, there's a person that you potentially want to build a relationship with, and if they're talking at an event, go to that event, put a question to them, engage with them in that way, and start building relationships either remotely or in person by not stalking them, but just going to events where they are. It's as simple as that, really. Looking as well at if your target market are based in a specific location, because if they are, remote networking is a great way to start building relationships with people without the time or the cost of physically going there, by looking at who is hosting the events. So if you wanted to start building relationships in Cumbria, for example, then you should be attending remote networking events that are hosted by individuals or companies based in Cumbria, because that's where their network's going to be, and that's probably where they're going to be promoting the event and attracting their delegates from. So start looking at where the host is based, and that'll give you a clear indication on where the delegates are going to be based as well. So thinking about why you're networking and the types of people you want to meet and build relationships with is a great starting point for being strategic in your networking activities moving forward. So think about the things that they're interested in, the places that they're based, and start looking at events that tick those boxes.